you gotta do is just speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer so rough. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me know I said me if it could flee. Me have to take away myself. Me have to take away myself. Me have to hide like a thief in the night. Me have to get out of sight. Me have to take away myself. I have to take away myself. I have to utilize thy wings. Show the eye cleaver eyes.
Greetings, kings and queens. Welcome to another Real Stuff podcast. This is yours truly, Franco. Today, on our storytelling, every Friday we give you storytelling. We have none other than the man himself, Mr. Asante Amen. And he's gonna walk us through a lecture that he gave at the UWI Mona campus in Jamaica. Also, we're going to be linking up with our co-host Flavius as well. So in the meantime, go get your drinks, whether it be your tea, your coffee, whatever it is. Go get it, because we'll be right back.
Take away myself, I have to utilize thy wings. Show the eye a clean pair of heels. I say, been there, done that, don't need it again, yeah. I'm not a master guess who won't play your game, yeah. To all you move, you have me way to the core. Sayonara, the hot girl gone through the door. Take away ourselves. Ah, Say no good body, girl, let me take me ourselves. Take me ourselves. No good body, girl, let me take me
This is your very own sports, music, and lifestyle podcast with Flavius and Franco. Welcome.
We're going to kick it off with Azzy and Stevie J, Where We Go Wrong.
Where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong. We have a nice little island and now I mash up the place. With the gun and the war and the crime is such a disgrace. We used to play domino on the corner run with little race. Domino, domino. We never teeth Matty Puddin' cause everyone gets a taste. I tell you, where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong. We used to have respect for our elders and mind our ways. Good manners were the in thing back in those days. We were proud of our country and culture, no pride since we win. We win. Now we look to foreign, cause yard and bleach out with skin. Where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong.
Hi, this is Pam Hall, and I'm inviting you to hang out with Flavius and Franco.
There is a link with the gun and the coke. If we don't stop this madness we're doing, our country will be in a ruin. Make the effort, improve our ways. Remember the good old days when our young girls grew into ladies, not mothers while you're still babies. Where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong. We have a nice little island and now I mash up the place. With the gun and the war and the crime is such a disgrace. I tell you. We used to have respect for our elders and mind our ways. Yes sir, no sir, good morning, good evening. Good manners were the in thing back in those days. Where we go wrong, 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 where we go wrong.
Just tread it carefully, and be careful how you step in. When you are reason, do it consciously.
Yes, yes, indeed. Where do we go wrong and stop the corruption? By Rasta And Reggae. We're gonna give you more Rasta And Reggae later on in the show, but let's link up with Flavius. Morning, Flavius.
Good morning, Franco. I just wondering, good morning, listeners, good morning, viewers. I just wonder if you heard that the president.
If what happened?
I'm wondering if you're throwing word at the president. If you are throwing word at the president, what did we go? How did we go wrong?
No. Them have a saying say, if you throw a stone in a hog pen and one of them squeal, you know I hear me.
Again? Yeah.
I would the cap fit make them wear it. Corruption all over the world, man. All over the world.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening in your neck of the woods as well?
Yeah, before my neck of the woods, I'm listening to watching the TV and listening to the commentators, and one of the main things they are asked on is the behavior of the president. You know, his utterances.
You know what?
Bring it apart, as commentators, he's kind of bringing the American democratic process into disrepute, you know.
Oh yes, oh yes. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
blame the Republican Party because they used the guy to achieve what they wanted, and they got
Wanted, yeah,
it.
oh yes,
They got it,
oh yes,
and now,
and they got more.
oh yeah, and so they're throwing him out whichever way. If I make the blame seems to be on the electoral process. So
Oh yes, oh yes,
he's gonna be saying what he wants to say because he said it in 2016. Say if him lose the election, it rig. This
yeah,
definitely goes to show you. So this is one of them guys who like the barroom brawl. And if him lose,
oh
him
yes,
blame it on him trip over the pool table or the ring wasn't big enough for him to fight or that's how him is.
yeah,
That's how him is.
yeah,
Him have excuses for everything. But them have a
yeah. But you
saying.
must, yeah, you must remember that America always want to say their thing is the best,
Oh
their
yeah.
thing is the cleanest,
Oh yeah.
you know.
Oh yes. This guy just show you oh well where would I put it? Oh America full of hypocrisy.
Yeah, another side of America.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. I have a friend in
a side
Trinidad.
that
I have a friend in
a side that they try to hide.
and him
You
just
know.
expose everything.
Oh yes.
I have a friend in Trinidad and his saying was, boy, I want him mash up America. I say I want him take the constitution and tear it up. I said,
No, but him can't do worse than what he's doing now.
well, yes, because the man I drop the what you call it? He might use the bowline and I throw words out there for him waiting them supporters for pick up.
Oh yeah.
And some of them want, for start them little destructive things and call, say boy them a protest as well. Hey, them have a saying, although I not believe in the karma business, but when dish out him I get it back. Simple as that.
No, karma is real, man. Karma is real. There's no question about it. You know.
Well,
Karma is real.
when dish out him I get back,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he has no empathy. He's not somebody who apologize for him wrongs because you're not going here. If them do declare the Democrat leader the winner, he's not going. I don't think he's going to make a concession speech. Doubt it, because
No, they were speaking about that. I don't know what station I'm watching. Or was it CNN?
CNN, yeah, CNN,
They were speaking about that this morning.
yeah, and they said
And
that,
what they're saying, that is not necessary for the president, but it's a nice thing to do. But they're not expecting it from him.
I heard one political strategist said that the most defining moment of the election is not it's not the candidate who win, is the one who take the podium in front of the media and say the concessions and make the concession speech. It calmed down his supporters immediately. That's the way the concession speech is all about. It's like you telling your supporters why we tried, but we lost. But there's some things that we can, maybe we can make them know that our presence was felt, and this is what we're gonna do so that say boy, our voice was heard because we get X amount of vote and we perform well here, idea. And as he was saying, if that candidate don't make that concession speech, it only get the supporters them more angrier. You understand? Because they are saying, oh, we never lose the election.
Man, divided, more divided.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, more divided, yeah.
we saw him going
Something
there.
something that got me this morning, when I listening to CNN, is that they are saying that Fox is part of the Trump team. And even if when Biden win, they will not even call him president-elect. Yeah, they say Fox went out on that big limb, which I don't know how them expect to survive after this.
No, you know what Fox did? Ironically, Fox was the one who declare him the loser for Arizona already, you know. Fox and the AP. The AP and Fox, AP
Yeah.
Media and Fox declare him, you know, as same loser, Arizona. And they call
But he
Fox.
never lost to Arizona.
He might lose it still. They call Fox and Fox said they're not pulling it back because them already declare him. Fox said them don't see in what way he's gonna come back, climb over that hump. You understand me? So apparently them are push him out quicker than expected. Because the other medias them still have it too close to call. So
Well, Pennsylvania gone now.
you know, I haven't been watching it. The last time I watched the coverage was at about 2:30 this morning, and I said, "Sure, I can't take no more of this because I'm just waiting when, you know, if I get it, if I see it on Google, so yes, that happened and that happened, then maybe after our podcast I will check it out. But I'm not following it up
No
again.
man. Biden is now leading.
Yeah, but the count still going on. I think them have one more person. Them reach 99% of the county. So another
And
percent
that's
left.
sure, but based on how the count is coming in now,
Mm-hmm.
Biden is getting like 60 or 70% of everything that come in.
It done then. It done because
Yeah.
they had predicted that last early this morning that they were 99% at the time.
But he's also living in Georgia.
Yeah, and that's what I saw this morning. The last count that came in from Georgia had him neck and neck, 49.4%, both of them, and he was only leading Biden like by 1,700 vote.
No, but Biden has gone past him now.
Okay, you know more than me because as I said, I stopped watching from 2:30.
No, it's current, you know. I am on CNN now.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You know more than me because I stopped watching from 2:30. So
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. So what's happening in your neck of the woods?
Well, I see like sun peeping out,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of talk about this whole opening back schools.
Don't do it.
I think they're looking seriously. Well, on Monday they're going to start the 2 weeks testing
Mm-hmm.
17 schools,
Mm-hmm.
and based on the results of that, they would decide what to do. But I heard the Prime Minister say everybody have to come to the realization that schools have to open.
No, we don't say it. It don't have to open, you know. But
And then the Minister of Education is saying, although we're looking into opening schools because of all the problems, the digital thing is a reality. We're not turning back. We're not turning back from that.
mm-hmm.
Study from home and all that will continue.
Mm-hmm. But the thing
So-
I'm saying is this.
Hold on. What they are saying is that, well, what the Prime Minister said that right now it's impossible. As I said, they didn't do any planning. Right now it's impossible to get everybody armed with a digital device within 6 months. Not because of money, but because of the international shortage of devices. In fact, my friend in Canada told me that him couldn't get a webcam to buy.
Hey, listen me, no man. You see, by now and Thanksgiving, all of that over. All of that shortage will be over. Remember me tell you that.
I agree.
The shortage is there now because you know, a lot of people buying up all of these devices. Not to mention,
Oh, yes, they are.
do you really think that these manufacturers are not making They're making
Oh,
more than enough for what people would
they're making
shop.
millions now, man. Yeah, they're making by the millions now
And
because
it might be relatively cheap going into the what them call it,
yeah,
Black Friday weekend.
yeah.
Yeah, it might be relatively cheap. Now, what I was saying about the school thing, look at what happened to England and the US. And
Mm,
don't do what they do wrong. You understand me? England might be a little bit better than the US because they put some stuff into place. US never
mm,
put everything into place to open school. They did it because they were trying to make sure that when the GDP score came out,
mm.
was what last month, they would get
Oh,
their
okay.
31 point whatever percent. And in order for them to get that, school has to open so that kids can go back to school and those who still have a job could go back out and work. And they
Yeah.
keep pushing it, pushing it. Actually, the president keep pushing it. And nobody saw what was coming until when the GDP, when everybody, the finance, what you call it, industry start realize, whoa, the GDP score is what we need to show so the economy is still in good shape. And it would look
Mm-hmm.
good for him
Mm-hmm.
because he wasn't running on the virus of how to solve the problem. He was running on an economy and
Mm-hmm.
then was given the false narrative that there was no virus because
Yeah.
him got through something and it seems to him like it's a little flu and see me him immune. But goddamn son, you have 12 of the best doctors in the world. Nobody have that uncle, maybe you and the queen. So for you coming out to be and bragging about you have the best doctors, we have the best doctors and we have the best medical this. You have it. You understand
Mm-hmm.
me? You have it. Not everybody have that. But you have
Yeah,
it.
now they are.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
Now
Yep.
I've been getting some stuff out of England from Dan.
Yeah.
And they're closing back down. Even schools going close because they made some blunders.
Yesterday.
You understand?
Yesterday.
Yeah. They
They
made
started.
some mistakes. The US right now, in our
Mm.
state alone, in the state of Florida, 675 schools in different counties have infections.
Mm.
675 schools.
Mm.
And I'm talking from Miami-Dade County all the way up to West Palm Beach and beyond. So the numbers, we don't see the numbers as to how many students yet. But it's going to be a big number. I'm judging it going to be a big numbers. So that is something, if we're going to open, we have to, Jamaica going to open. Jamaica have to put some stuff into place.
Mm.
Do something different from what the big countries them didn't do. And then talk about, testing 2 weeks or whatever. Because the narrative going around is that kids can't have it. That's a joke. That's a joke. You hear me? That's a joke. Kids, as we know, are social butterflies. So when we are practice how to wash our hands and to make sure said you're so clean and that cleaner we not rest our hand here or there, and if we do, we make sure we wash it immediately. Kids don't see that.
No.
They don't. So we have to be careful. We have to be careful. That's all I'm saying. Jamaica can. If they want to do it, fine, but don't do it because of an economic strain on the country.
Yeah.
You're going to do it so that people can go back to work. Deal with safety first. Deal with safety first.
Another discussion in Jamaica now is about the whole Portmore thing
Mm-hmm.
being a part, and the mayor and one of the MPs are asking, is it just election promise to be filled,
Mm-hmm.
to be fulfilled? Because as it is now, Portmore can be a parish because Portmore.
I'm not hearing you, my son.
need a whole heap of things. A lot of things that we need. Get all of these things. Because they need a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
True.
So that is really the conversation at that time. And of course, tomorrow is election again.
Party election.
So we are filled with election. Yeah, tomorrow. The stations are carrying it live from 10 to 5.
Good for them, man. Good for them. May the lucky one win.
Yeah.
I know it's not the best candidate to go win, but may the lucky one win.
Well, both of them are vowed to work with each other, whoever win. So them claim.
I like how you put that, so them claim. So anyway, let's do the did you know, then we can come back and chit chat because we have a recording this morning of our guests. And
okay.
We're dropping it this morning in its raw content, and then you can listen to the podcast as soon as it's posted on our different platforms like Apple Pod, Spotify, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, as well, Stitcher, Anchor, and the one, we would call it the most used ones as well. And whatever we don't have, you let us know, and we'd certainly make it available for you as well. So we have did you know, sir?
Yeah, we're still at the diaspora, and and probably next week we can do a little more on that with different news coming out of US because a lot of our diaspora is in the US, Canada, UK, and then everywhere else in the world. But the big cluster of Caribbean people are normally in the US, which is close to us, so we always try to go there. In England, where we used to go in the 50s, 60s, and of course in Canada, that we have always been in Canada, a major part of the Canadian society. So I think their whole idea of the diaspora is that everybody is realizing now that the diaspora is a huge asset to the region. Because these are people who migrated, but not just migrated. They migrated and they worked and they saved their money. But even more importantly, they got themselves trained, in all different fields and are very, very professional and they work very well, and they have a lot that they can offer to the region. Some of them want to come back home. Some of them want to stay where they are and do business in the Caribbean, So we are looking at all of that and see where we are. And are you in the diaspora? You can listen and see what the Caribbean needs, what the Caribbean plan to do, things like that. So Alison, please take away day 4.
Empowering Caribbean women through migration. To fully understand the Caribbean region, one must look at migration and its effects. This region has experienced and is still experiencing several migratory movements which have contributed to the configuration of Caribbean societies. The feminization of migration, the emigration of skilled professionals to developed countries, and interregional migration are some of the current trends in the region. Recent research conducted by the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean and IOM, the UN Migration Agency on women's empowerment and migration in the Caribbean, indicates that migration represents an opportunity to empower women and boost their autonomy. Their individual conditions or situations will shape their lives in the countries of origin, transit, and destination, and determine the nature of the migration process. This is an important point to emphasize when major Caribbean populations reside in Canada, 365,000, the Dominican Republic, 334,000, and Spain, 280,000, and when approximately 55% of the 4 million Caribbean migrants residing in the United States were female in 2013. Additionally, in Antigua and Barbuda, Belize, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago, women account for more than 50% of migrants, and in Barbados, the number is as high as 60%. Empowerment is a difficult concept to define, and so is the assessment of its impact on migration. The United Nations developed 5 components to better explain women's empowerment. Women's sense of self-worth, their right to have and to determine choices. Their right to have access to opportunities and resources, their right to have the power to control their own lives, both within and outside the home. And their ability to influence the direction of social change to create more just social and economic order, nationally and internationally. Empowerment will only take place if women are given the chance to migrate through regular channels, access decent jobs, develop professional skills, benefit from the provisions of immigration admission policies, and the socio-economic environment of the host country. However, if Caribbean women migrate irregularly, they could be subject to further vulnerabilities, abuse and violation of their human rights, and their fear of being arrested, detained or deported will prevent them from seeking health or social services. Data on labor force participation rates in the Caribbean shows that gender disparity in the labor market remains a matter of deep concern, showing that males were more active in the labor force than females. Many women perform domestic jobs, often without access to social protection, and mostly as providers of low-paid caregiving work. In other professions such as nurses, doctors or teachers overseas, Caribbean women tend to migrate due to the high demand for these professions and better paid opportunities in developed countries. Migration and women's empowerment are linked at every stage of the migration process. There is clear evidence that migration not only brings major benefits to women in financial independence, but also in terms of household tasks. As the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean and IOM research shows, when men migrated first and resided abroad for years before their wives joined them, the men learned household tasks and were more willing to assist their spouses when the two were reunited. Women, regardless of their migratory status, are rights holders, and states are responsible for ensuring those rights. Current migration in the Caribbean region raises many questions, reveals opportunities and challenges, but still lacks gender equality policies and agreements. This study has developed an array of specific recommendations for countries of transit and destination, including those in the Caribbean, for the private sector and the international community. If you are interested in learning more about the proposed recommendations of the research on women's empowerment and migration in the Caribbean, you will find them here. I am Alison Goodness with today's Did You Know?
Today, Did You Know is brought to you courtesy of Slowly Jamaica, uniquely Caribbean. In case you didn't know, now you know. Yes, Flavius. So that was about women migration.
Oh yeah, women. Yeah, you see, the whole women play such a vital role into everything that everything that we do. We have to make sure women are involved and are involved at all levels. I think that is so great.
True.
And I think that was a master stroke by Biden. His running mate.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was just glancing.
Not only a woman, but a black woman and a Jamaican woman. It just show you how powerful the Caribbean is. Yeah, man, we because I'm sure they get a lot of votes based on just her. Yeah, man.
Okay.
And I think that was a master stroke. She's not carrying her. Standing on her own 2 feet. She's a very powerful woman based on her achievements over the years. You know? And a lot of women are, looking at her and saying, yes, we have a woman, so we have a mixed bag in the presidency. But a woman's opinion is always very important. We have been carrying us for so long, all our lives. One thing is, we have a lot more single family headed by women than men. Far. I mean, we're not promoting single families, single parents, but we're just looking at the reality. And women have done so well for us.
Strength of a woman.
Oh yes, every time.
So amazing.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna go into our guest now.
Yeah, we're gonna go into our guest, and this, as I said to you, it's a recording we did.
Yes.
With reggae artist Asante Amen. You saw him in 2013 at UWI Mona campus when he did the lecture on Rasta and Reggae music. And you remember that that what you call it, that little, I wouldn't say controversy, I don't want to use the word controversy, it might sound too big, but that little disagreement that he had.
It's a disagreement of ideas.
Yeah, that he had with some elders that were there as well. So we had a talk, asked him to do it on the podcast this morning, but based on his schedule, he's not available to do a Friday podcast, only on a Thursday. And on Thursday, we have cook and curry and poetry. And then the time again, if we had going to cut poetry and put him in, it would have been too short. So we sat down yesterday and, we talk about this. And this is the raw content I'm giving you this morning. So you're going to hear him talk and, he's reading basically. And talking at the same time of, things that took place then and after. And surprisingly, the elders that he had the disagreement with, all of them are his friends now. Advisors, teachers and everything. So from out of that, came friendship. So it's good, that no man is an island.
Yes, oh yes.
And 7 brothers, 7 different minds. We're going to have disagreement, but we should never make our disagreement lead us down to destruction and stop friendship.
No, never. Yeah.
So with that, I'm just going to play what we recorded yesterday. He asked me to play a song, but the only song I'm going to play is his song. And this is the song that you will hear when the official podcast come out on our different platforms. So I'm going to play this song first and then bring in the audio.
Whoa, whoa, yes. Oh. And just said, singers and players on instruments must bring. Well, this one is a bombshell. to sight His majesty. He's revealed to me His personality.
Introduce, Today we have with us none other than a good friend of mine, Asante Amen. And today he will be talking to us about Rasta and reggae music. This was a lecture I see Asante did at the University of the West Indies Mona campus back in 2013. And it was one of the most riveting lecture I've ever seen with the reggae music and Rasta. So, morning Asante, how you doing?
My brother, blessings to you, blessings to your audience. I am Irie, giving thanks for each day, giving thanks for just the knowledge as it increases and continue to direct and guide my life,
True.
Yeah, man.
So today, as I said, I want to do this thing for me because the music, and not only with Rasta, but the music itself, because we know where the birth of it came from in Jamaica. But it have a lot back in the days identify with the Rastafari movement, and now we're not seeing that in this type of music today. So I want you to go through with what you did back then, 2013 at UWI.
All right. I'm gonna give thanks for the opportunity to kind of represent this information, because even some of it I never even got to share because of time constraint. And ultimately, what it was, it was a kind of chronicling, yes, of my journey as a reggae artist, but in many respects, to kind of even a testimony of my life as a Rastafari virgin who happened to be doing music, So, in essence, what I'm going to present is just excerpts of this paper, because it really did kind of long still.
Yes, I understand.
Rastafari, Rastafari and reggae. So what I'm going to do is just give you some excerpts from that. So, and hopefully from this, we probably can expand more into what we really want to go now as an artist in terms of Rasta and reggae music. In terms of how I see it.
Okay. True.
So let me kick off the ball then. So, who am I? That's Asante Amen. I am a reggae artist, an academic, and a child of the Most High Yahweh. Now, though all of the above are true descriptions of me, the last one means the most because it is the center of my being or consciousness. My need to identify with the source of my existence is the key to me understanding my role in society and my contribution to creation. For some, the issue of uncovering who they are and knowing what their purpose in life is comes easy to them. However, for many, for many others, this is not the case. There are a number of reasons why many of us have not found ourselves during our youthful days, adult life, and even up to the point of death. For those of us who know that there is more to life than what meets the eye and have chosen to walk the way of Rastafari in search of it, i.e. our true self, one or all of the following issues greet us along our way. 1. Family pressures and expectations. 2. Societal norms and values. And 3. Subcultural norms and values. Now, as a result of the process of self-discovery, at the very minimum, is a test of one's mental strength and commitment to this goal. And the process is a continuous one. Now, the development of self is indeed a labor of love. It takes place over time and can be likened to the way a rose transforms from a bud to being in full bloom. Based on this premise, if I were asked who I am today, I would say I see myself as being I see myself as a being trying to come into the fuller understanding of who Yahweh is so that I can live the most meaningful life possible. I accept that I will falter at times while on this mission and that I get stiff-necked sometimes when new or alternative philosophies confront me. But from time to time, I remind myself that I am a work in progress, or put another way, a being under construction. Now, I want to move now into the power of music.
Yeah.
Because, as Brother Franco know, a big part of my consciousness was formulated to a bridging called Garnet Silk. I mean, have that aspect in the paper, but I want to move into the power of music. So, moving to this next segment. Now, as a spiritual warrior on the musical battlefield, I think it is important to underline the significance of word song power to the development of self. In Garnet Silk's song, The Rod, an unassailable truth is conveyed. That is, music is one of the most powerful tools of communication we have. So as a melodic practitioner of word sound and power myself, I have to be mindful of what I say to the public through my music. When I decided to pursue music as a career, I was clear in my mind that I wanted to add to the body of enlightening works that already existed in reggae. I was of the resolve that my music had to be geared towards the spiritual and mental upliftment and liberation of my people. After all, if Garnet Silk's music could have been such a catalyst for me and so many others, then it is without doubt that such messages will still have currency today. The onus is therefore on singers and chanters in reggae who share my perspective to make message music that will be digested just as readily as any other genre of music. As such, I always ask that the Most High use my voice as a trumpet for his or her truth and reveal to me the messages I should spread. It is true that message music doesn't take you to the top of the musical ladder or create the kind of buzz that love songs or girl songs or badman songs or party songs do. But as a conscious reggae artist, I have to make music that is true to who I am. I chose the road with the least traffic on it because that is the way I like to drive. Easy yet focused.
True.
My decision to sing, yeah man, one have true to themselves, man, trust me.
Yeah.
You know, my decision to sing music for the mind and soul was made easy once I found Rastafari. Despite the struggles and tests that come with my choice, I feel great in myself because I have not led anyone along a negative path with any of my messages I have sent out to the world. I have not used my music to introduce anyone to a path of life that may be detrimental to their physical or spiritual health and well-being. And for this, I give thanks. Now, what I will do, I could give a little bit of background into Rastafari itself, if you so choose, or I can skip past that.
Whatever, do it, man.
Alright. What I'm going to do, let me read this other part of the spiritual thing, and then I can always just slice and splice as you need, you know?
You can't edit that, yeah.
Excellent. Alright. So that brings me now to this next segment called Musical Warrior, Bringing Spiritual Food. My musical expressions are directly aligned with my living. As I grow, I show my leaves. My musical fruits are the end result of the seeds of knowledge that were planted into my consciousness. The influence of the teachings of His Imperial Majesty and Yeshua Ben Yosef are primary to my consciousness, along with the messages and inspirations from Yahweh. Both Yeshua Ben Yosef and His Imperial Majesty have made me appreciate the awesomeness of the unseen one, the Most High Jah. And this perspective is now what lines the base of every message I communicate to the world musically. Right. So that were the excerpts on the music that I had in this paper, see? And then what I had, as I say, was since Rastafari is the vehicle through which may I interpret the music, I then gave an explanation of Rastafari and how my philosophy of Rastafari has changed over time. So, as I say, it's 2 sections. We can read through that and then we can discuss everything if they so choose.
Yeah, man, that's good.
All right, cool. All right, my people. So now that I've kind of given you my understanding of music in a very short and brief way, but the purpose for the music that I write, and so thankful again for ones like Brother Franco supporting I by giving I a platform to speak and also for playing my music over the years. I want to give you a little vibe now on understanding of Rastafari for me. So here is my journey. And as I say again, as Brother Franco had mentioned, this is in 2013. So I appreciate by that time I had done easily about 16, 17 years in Rastafari consciousness already. And a lot of changes had taken place. And this was the first time I was given a platform to speak in this kind of way about my chat.
Yeah.
And I use the opportunity to use it as a testimony to my evolution. So I know Brother Franco remember the whole of sparks that went off after the presentation.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, man.
With the Rasta elders.
Yes, man. Yes, man. And I made enough friends out of that too because, again, there is a particular perspective of Rastafari to the world, ideologically, that doesn't necessarily capture all of the views within Rastafari. Rastafari is still not as readily understood, and its differences not as readily obvious to the public as in the case of Christianity, where people know. So you have Jehovah's Witness, you have Baptists, you have Methodists, you have Catholic, and people kind of understand that there are differences in terms of doctrine of these Christian denominations, even though all of them call themselves Christian. Well, it's the same thing within Rastafari. So I want to just give the people a medical insight on that. So here are the final segments now. So in terms of my music and how it's shaped, here is first part of my shaping, my early understanding. So I call this section the teachings of Rastafari. Now, in the early stages of my development in Rastafari, I held firmly to the concept that His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, was God. I saw the Emperor then as my brethren, and sisters see him today as the returned Christ in his kingly character. Many Christians are of the view that Jesus Christ, or Jesus the Christ, is God, the creator of all things. Many within Rastafari share this perspective, with the added feature that His Imperial Majesty is actually the Jesus of the Bible, and is the person who fulfills the prophecy of Jesus returning, not as a lamb to the slaughter, but as a conquering lion. With such an understanding, I naturally wrote many songs that reflected this teaching. Many of these songs never saw the light of day, but thankfully I have them in my treasure chest, so I am able to revisit them as and when I choose. The music I was yearning to make at that time was purely evangelistic in nature, with a twinge of revolution. I strove to have the reverence of Garnet Silk mixed with the righteous indignation of Peter Tosh in my music. I still have that same desire today, but through the process of time and further growth, my writing style has changed, reflecting the evolution in myself. Put another way, the music I make today is based less on the teachings I swatted as a youth, but more on the experiences and lessons that life generally has taught me. There was a period in my trad when I moved away from Rastafari teachings that had too much Jesus the Christ in it, because it made me feel like I was going to church all over again. Great ones like the Garnet Silk were taken out of my playlist. Sorry, let me correct that. Great ones like Garnet Silk weren't taken out of my playlist, but I had become more interested in the firebrand messages of Sizzla Kalonji, Capleton, and Peter Tosh. Their music was bringing fire to the heathen's heels without the Christian feel. A criticism Garnet's music started to receive from my peers. This shift in focus was taking place at the same time that many Rastafari brethren and sisters started to burn Bibles publicly. The anti-Western Christian and anti-Jesus sentiment was really strong at that time. The very mention of the name Jesus Christ made me uncomfortable. I would conjure up thoughts of slavery, repression, victimization, and white supremacy. At the same time, in my life, there was no room for any form of colonial retention. Rather, it was all about black redemption and spiritual liberation. It was about reclaiming our lost heritage and dignity. As a result, any teaching that seemed to be building a bridge between the white man's God and our salvation was not entertained. Not by me or any of my peers. So the burning of the Bible really caught my imagination and represented for me an attempt to let go of the single most glaring retention we had in our midst, or colonial retention we had in our midst. I must say that this period in my development was very exciting. I was gathering up and taking in as much knowledge about my African heritage as I could. I was attending all the meetings possible, joined the UNIA, and had surrounded myself with critical thinkers who were dissecting the teachings of Rastafari, the words of His Imperial Majesty the First, and other world religions in the search for truth. It was indeed a high point in my trad as a Rastafari youth. At that time, I was 22 years old. Now, this knowledge gathering period did not escape my musical compositions, as I was writing and rehearsing new material in anticipation of my career taking off. The material I began to produce spoke to the glory of Egypt, the atrocities being meted out to my African brothers and sisters on the continent, and the rejection of Western material and spiritual trappings for a more retreatist lifestyle. I felt I was now ready to leave my colonial retentions behind and strong enough to tackle dirty Babylon head on. I would like to pause right here to recount, let me rephrase this again. I would like to pause the recount of my musical and spiritual journey at this juncture to make a very important point. How the teachings of Rastafari manifest itself within any one person cannot be determined or bridled because, as previously stated, Rastafari is a personal experience. For instance, a statement I would commonly hear during my search was, "Everyone has to live them live." What I understood this statement to mean was that when all is said and done, that is, you have read all the words of His Majesty, watched all the tapes or DVDs you can find about the King, attended all the Rastafari gatherings you can go to, and have reasoned with all the ones you can about the faith, you realize that it all comes down to you. It is you and only you who can use the information gained and the experiences you have had to free yourself and live a life that is true to who you know yourself to be. This is the lesson above all others that has resonated with me the most. Now, that captures the earlier part of my development or my progression in Rastafari. But as them say, and as His Imperial Majesty say, what life has taught I is what this whole testimony in essence that I presented in 10 to 13 is.
Okay.
Is chronicling my testimony.
Okay.
So here now, I now morph into the next section, which to me is the most poignant section. And I call this section a closer look at the words of His Imperial Majesty.
Okay.
So by the early 2000s, I realized that there was a key element missing to my spiritual armor. That is the words of the King of Kings himself to shore up my meditation. The glue that I needed to hold all of the pieces I was forming in my mind together was the teachings of His Imperial Majesty. I was now fully aware that all of my exposure to the liberty of Rastafari and this theological understanding wasn't going to hold true for me if I didn't have the words of the King himself to seal it up. I would liken my need at the time to that of any devout Christian or Muslim. That is to say, the way with which a Christian would run to his or her Bible, or a Muslim to his or her Quran, to defend his or her position, was the same way that I wanted to be able to run to the words of His Imperial Majesty. So that I could seal up everything I was now holding onto and begun to communicate via my musical word songs. Again, I had reached another turning point in my spiritual journey. It was a turning point because the more I read the words of His Imperial Majesty, was the more I realized that I would need to do some revision to the position I had assumed. In my contemplations with self, I realized that there were three main issues I now needed to address before I could consider myself or consider my personal theology a sound one. And they were as follows. 1. Who is His Imperial Majesty really? 2. In accepting His Imperial Majesty, do I also have to accept Yeshua ben Yosef? And 3. Would I need to read the Bible? The answer to questions 2 and 3 came easily. Let me read that again. The answers to questions 2 and 3 came easily to me once I started reading the words of His Imperial Majesty. But the first question took a while to resolve. It took some time because I now had to match the teachings of Rastafari and who the Liberty says he is with the words of the Emperor and how he described himself. I think what also made question 1 the most difficult to resolve was the reality that if the teachings of Rastafari did not concur with the words of His Imperial Majesty, certainly in my mind, on this matter, then what would be my next step? In essence, if he isn't God, then who is? What impact would this new revelation have on my music and the teachings I was sending out into the world? Many questions started to flood my mind. This was the spiritual milestone that I needed an urgent answer to. And so I delved into the teachings of His Majesty. So I pause here again just to remind the audience that this actual presentation, the name of it was Give Us the Teachings of His Majesty, the journey of one Rastafari brethren to find self. And I chose that title because that Bob Marley tune was such a critical tune, even to I. Because as the brethren said, give us the teachings of His Majesty, because we don't want a devil philosophy. So, not for I and I, more time. When we even on certain tracks, whether it's Rasta or Christian or Muslim. And other faiths too. We take on a thing and we have the zeal and the fire and we're passionate as youth. And sometimes the doctrine of man or men who craft these things is sometimes what we hold on to more than even the ones who is the very source or center of the doctrine or the religion or the movement itself.
True.
So, is that no? Maybe it's a state in my life where I had to now reflect on these things, and that's where I was. So, continuing on, my people. Great. So So as I read the words that emanated from the wise mind of His Imperial Majesty, many quotes, such as the ones I have selected below, began to catch my eye. And I'm just going to give you 3 quick ones. First one. And if anybody ever watched the music video, Only Rastafari, this is the quote you see at the end of the music video. And it goes, no matter what may befall a human being, he can always succeed in overcoming it if he has the strength of faith and praise to God. For inevitably, he comes to the assistance of those who believe in him. If I did not have faith in the Almighty and in his righteousness, and that justice inevitably prevails, then I would have lost hope. Because I attempted to maintain my faith in him, and because all Ethiopians maintain their faith in the ultimate goodness of the world and in the grand design of the Almighty. Let me read that last part again. Because I attempted to maintain my faith in him, and because all Ethiopians maintain their faith in the ultimate goodness of the world and in the grand design that the Almighty has for all men in the world, we were able to victoriously re-enter our country and rid ourselves of evil forces. And he said that in December 25, 1968, in an interview with Dr. Oswald Hoffman, talking about the re-entry into Ethiopia after being in exile for over 5 years as a result of the fascist Italian regime, which I could topple the government of Ethiopia and have it as one of their states to govern and do what they want to do with it.
Okay.
The next quote of Majesty I will use is this one. Man who is by nature selfish must learn that only in serving others can he reach the full stature or attain the noble destinies for which God created him. And last I will quote, and that one he did in 1959 as an investiture of bishops, a special ceremony. Third one now, Christians, let us arise, and with the spiritual zeal and earnestness which characterized the apostles and early Christians, let us labor to lead our brothers and sisters to our Savior Jesus, who only can give life in its fullest sense. Spoken at the World Evangelical Press, October 28, 1966. Now, quotes such as these and many others began to impact me and in turn my music. The more I read and researched the King of Kings, the more I began to understand not only him, but also the passion of the Rastafari movement for him. The Emperor was and is certainly a man for all seasons. He typifies what I consider to be a fully evolved being. The story of his life brought home clearly to me the point that man has all the raw materials within him to be the best he can be. All that Yahweh made us capable to be. His Imperial Majesty represents for me the ideal man, and as such he is the perfect role model for any man or woman. No wonder why so many Rastafari brethren and sisters have ascribed to him the highest title there is, i.e. God. His Imperial Majesty was an evolved being who understood perfectly the need for man to cultivate his or her spiritual self, that is the inner man. There can be no question that His Imperial Majesty cultivated and nurtured his higher self through the vehicle of the Christian faith. And I quote, because of the exemplary character of the life of Jesus Christ, it is necessary that all men do their maximum in their human efforts to see to it that they approximate as much as they can the good example that has been set by him. It is quite true that there is no perfection in humanity. For time to time we make mistakes. We do commit sins. But even as we do that, deep in our hearts as Christians, we know we have a chance of forgiveness from the Almighty. He taught us that all men are equal regardless of sex, their national origin and tribe. And he also taught us all who seek him shall find him. To live this healthy life, Christian life, is what makes me follow Jesus Christ. Now, these things, when I start to delve into the reality of His Majesty and His liberty, really reopen my eyes to many things. Okay. So, as I said, people, it's the evolution of life and stages. Mm-hmm. So, we do have man perspective. We do have certain teachings in these various states, including the one that I've chosen for well over 20 and maybe 30 years now in my life, called Rastafari. Mm-hmm. But again, as I say, I recommend to everyone, rather than what a man say, what a man chant say, or what a prophet say, I say, read the words of His Majesty and let those words and His truth be that light and that guide for you.
And I think that was when they question you, the elders them question you about His Majesty.
Yes, man.
You
all right, just I couldn't get to finish it because the man is starting lick sound.
Yes, I remember. I remember it.
Yeah, and it was so important because I wanted to finish this last piece of my read on just because I wanted to show the brethren say, we are the brethren and sisters say, for those of them that sees Imperial Majesty as God. It's not that I look in your own and them to say they're wrong, and that I say. As Bob say again, I have to love. The more I get older to people, is the more I love Bob Marley. Mm-hmm. Bob Marley in the song Africa Unite start off by saying, every man have a right to decide his own destiny.
True.
His Majesty Himself said the realm of God is unsearchable. So it's not for I and I to question a man's faith. So I no come to do that. And this is why I can glory in the words of His Majesty so much, because this brethren wasn't a brethren that come to divide and rule. Mm-hmm. But as His Majesty said, read the Bible and in it you will find truth for yourself. And it's just simply that me just take the words that the King give it. And when you read the words of the King and you redirect it to a certain part, you can either choose to overlook it or ignore it and hold on to what you did or hold on to before, or you can look forward into yourself and make new decisions and decide to modify your liberty if it's so move it to do. And I am one of those within this tribe of Rastafari that has done so. And there's thousands of us that have done it. It is probably most evident within the mansion of the 12 tribes of Israel for those who have ever been within the house of 12 tribes to really recognize how, in following the words of His Majesty, how you literally have different views contending within the space. Yet we are so highly still. So is that kind of fertile ground for growth, debate, evolution, and even sometimes separation that Rastafari really presents? Is that it's a school, it's an institution, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And some of us graduate up the ranks and stay within, and some of us graduate and leave at us earth, you know? Yeah. So as I rightly said, this is weird, not for I have been but you know. Lick your own panai, you know what I mean? Because again, it seems to be that I'm going along a line of reasoning that was different to where they may expose. And I really true, because I really saw I see it in this eye where I know. Mm-hmm. So that is why in the beginning of it, as I spoke about how my musical career came and evolved, and how much Rastafari impacted on that, I made the mention that initially I saw His Majesty as God. Because that's what we come here within Rastafari. So we are see it. And you go into the different meetings and the different bingies and things and get this teaching. But the key is always to read the source. And when we read the source, now we start have a different kind of vibe. So I will just close with this last part now, my people. Then talking about the humbleness of the servant of Jah. So I say, with acceptance came growth and a genuine appreciation for the man that is Haile Selassie. Following on the example of His Imperial Majesty, I now read the Bible with a clear conscience, taking from it the truths that are applicable to me and that resonate with my spirit. Following on the example of His Imperial Majesty, I have also looked into the teachings ascribed to Yeshua ben Yosef. And I've said Yeshua ben Yosef a few times, so let me clarify for the people that many people say Jesus Christ.
Okay.
But really and truly, there should have been an article in between it, which is Jesus the Christ, because Christ is not a last name. It's really a title, an ascription to whatever knighting or power or level a person has. So to be a Christ is to be an anointed one. See? So in common sense, we probably would have said too, because of the function that he served, he would have been a Moshiach as opposed to a Mashiach. But those things are when I get down to technical and anything. But yeah, we needed to just clarify that when we say Yeshua ben Yosef, what we're doing is ascribing him to what he was within earth, which was Yeshua, the son of Joseph. See? Right. So just go and clarify that.
Okay.
So we say, I have looked also into the teachings ascribed to Yeshua ben Yosef in the Bible, and have found comfort in many of the lessons he imparted. I now feel truly proud to say that I have two big brothers, that is Yeshua ben Yosef and Haile Selassie, guiding my path and whose examples I try to practice. There are a few examples of what I have learned from reading Yeshua's words. Matthew 12, verse 50, and I quote, "For whosoever shall do the will of my Father, which is in heaven, and sister and mother." John 8, 29, and I quote, "And he, i.e. Yahweh, that sent me is with me. The Father hath not left me alone, for I do always those things that please him." And Matthew 19, 17, and I quote, "Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments." Now the last quote by Yeshua certainly struck a chord with His Imperial Majesty, as I am sure many others in my mind, because when the Emperor was asked by Dr. Oswald Hoffman in 1968 what special word he had to offer to the young people, being a mature Christian himself, His Majesty replied, and I quote, "My advice to all is to fulfill the 10 Commandments. If the nation for which I am the Emperor follows and accepts this, since it's also what I accept and follow, I would believe our country is not only historically Christian, but also actively Christian." So based on the foregoing, my conclusion, I am now in a state of mind that all of my praises go directly to the divine energy that is responsible for everything we see and for every life that exists. I acknowledge that this is the same energy that His Imperial Majesty referred to as Almighty or God, and that Yeshua ben Yosef referred to as Father or God. As His Imperial Majesty would want or would have wanted, I am finding truth for myself in His words, the scriptures, the sacred teachings of Egypt, and many other sources. The journey for truth and the discovery of self is by no means over, but I feel like I am on the right path. And for that, I give the Most High Yahweh all thanks and praise.
Yes.
That is the summary of my presentation.
Yes, because I remember vividly when you had the discussion with the Rasta brethren them, and they were, all in uproar over the part that you mentioned about His Majesty, not being who they are looking at him to be.
Indeed.
He had also go back and use scripture to quote, and they were going back and forth with different biblical words as well. And yet still you were able to clear it up where everybody agreed without being disagreed. You understand me?
Precisely, because we always try to do that. Because we're not come to divide.
Exactly.
Because as I say in my last section that I didn't read here, just in terms of the talking about Rastafari overall, I don't disassociate myself from the church. I very much see Rastafari as the vehicle through which all of the understanding, all of the positive energy that I give off now, that I have now, the peace within myself, is the vehicle of Rastafari that has afforded that. If I didn't try this way, the kind of knowledge I have about even about black consciousness, and being grounded in my African spirituality, I wouldn't have it if I never tried this way. I have no doubt that is Rastafari, that is the vehicle that provided that. But it's just the same thing where I say, we can't, in as much as I love my brothers and sisters who have a different view to me.
Exactly.
They must allow that some of us will come and have a different understanding.
True.
But we must be able to have the difference and love same way.
Yeah. Because we can't, if them say 7 brothers, 7 different minds. We can't all have the same, understanding of what a scripture might say. But the question I want to ask you now, this was done 7 years ago. How much growth have you seen Asante Amen have achieved since that time until now? And because I know it's a continuation, you don't just stop growing this, so you're going to continue to grow in the knowledge of Rastafari.
Yeah, man. Well, bro, I would really say tremendous growth since that time, because even just in terms of the level of immersion that I have done into scripture, into various perspectives on scripture from some of the foundation religions, for example, going as far back into the Christian scholars as possible, going beyond them, called Judaism. And those ones who are the ones who really know are the brethren who deal with the Old Testament, as we call it, because them just call it Bible. There's no such thing as Old Testament in them consciousness. But their perspective of scripture, since what they really have is the religion called Christianity, the prefix before that is Judeo. So if you show you say Judeo-Christian or Judo-Christianity is coming from Judaism, it's coming from the Hebrew faith. So there's a continuity there, or it's grounded in that, just like Islam too is grounded in the whole knowledge of Abraham and his children. So that kind of immersion into scripture, into the various perspectives that obtain, I have definitely been dealing with for the years since that. So there's been a lot of confirmation too, personally, in my own decision to revise my position those many years ago, because many a one, as I say, sometimes a one will feel that they want to make a change, they want to make a move, but probably through shame and pride, or through faith, or through say I want to know, so them I said this some long time, they're afraid to do it. Whether lie or true, 'cause I never did it. I hear Archbishop, or I should say Abuna, Isiaq, that was here, that His Majesty sent here to Jamaica after he came to Jamaica in 1966, and heard of the teachings about, because he had met from before, because an expedition of I and I went to Ethiopia to have dialogue with the king. So he wasn't unfamiliar with Rastafari. Some people like to say like him, as never know about Rastafari till come. That isn't true. They know about I and I before. But when he came here now, there's a big difference between meeting 1 and 2 brethren in Ethiopia who say, yeah, we are looking at the eye this way and we are looking to exchange or create dialogue. That is one thing. But when he came here now to Jamaica, I really see the multitude now. I know that's a different thing altogether.
Yeah.
So after His Majesty did his state visit, he subsequently went back to Ethiopia and then commissioned Abuna Isiaq to come to Jamaica to establish the Ethiopian Orthodox Church.
Okay.
Because in his mind, he wanted those of us who love him and love Ethiopia so much to also share in the spiritual fruit of Ethiopia. And the spiritual fruit was the Orthodox Church.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than confront I and say, hey, I want to ask about me, him do it a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Him say, yo, when I love I, this is what I deal with. And that is why I chose those pieces of the many quotes for those who choose to read His Majesty to underline his devotion to Jesus the Christ and to the church.
Yeah.
And why it is that in Jamaica we have the Ethiopian Orthodox Church here. It's because of that upbringing that he has. And as the quote I read earlier also said, from a youth, he had been studying the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So that was his chosen road. So these are some of the perspectives where I know where I come now and through I learning I want to share. Now, in my mind now, I'm even more firm now in that position that I quoted in this last part 7 years ago, that I see His Majesty and Yeshua or Jesus as my brother.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more firm in that now than I was then. Because even as I quoted then, the scripture showing that Jesus was saying, if you love the Father, then you are considered and He will consider His brother or His sister.
Yeah.
See, that was Matthew 12, verse 50. See, even now, even further by reading more about what Yeshua did, I say, more about His Majesty, these things and life, and has just taught me that knowing, say, He's one God. And a one God there, whether you want to call Ray or Tay or whatever you want to call a God there, that one God there who I choose to call Yahweh. Other people call Allah, other people call one, call whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That is the source from where everything forward.
Yep.
And I'm more conscious and more resolute in that now than I was then. So yeah, in that sense, plenty growth, you know.
So have you been in touch with any of those elders from that time and what the relationship have become?
Some of those elders are my best friends in this time.
That's good.
So Ras Ivai,
mm-hmm.
right? That's the sound it. Ras Ivai was one of the first ancient to approach as I come through the door to say, hey, where you said the brother?
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yes, man. Ras Ivai, I want to make great bridges now. I love him and his family to the ground, man.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, man. Love the ones them, man. And them love I. You know what I mean? I love to dialogue with I and continue to share the wisdom and the understanding that them have with I. And I'm truly grateful.
Yes, good.
Brother Becky from the 12th tribe of Israel. He and I struck up a great relationship thereafter, but unfortunately the virgin transcended 2 years ago.
Okay.
You know, but obviously too, my priest as well, even though at that time I was a baptized member still of the School of Vision, which is Priest Dermot Fagan. He wasn't there at the function, but he knew about the works, and I had called him on radio programs subsequent to that. Steve and I and him and others dialogue on many things, and we're stronger and stronger. So yeah, I would say I can't think of a one that I had engaged in that time that relationship hadn't blossomed as a result of it. You know,
I know something good came out of that. And the reason why I said no, something good came out of that, because at the time, nobody left with animosity. You know, nobody left feeling that they were disrespect, you know, because of the way how you make the presentation and the way how you explain to them. You know, so I'm glad you were able to, you know, foster a relationship with them after.
Yeah, man. And you know, I'm glad that I even bring up that too, because a part of what we are speaking about now that we hadn't even captured, which obviously wasn't in the presentation because I never went there with that, was the fact that Professor Donna Hope at the time, she was Dr. Donna Hope, had presented just before me. So you had Professor Carolyn Cooper presenting, you had her, you had Dr. Donna Hope presenting, and then they had I. I think there was an expert to come after. See? But what was critical, and I'm glad they had started me right there, was because Dr. Donna Hope, in her speaking about the evolution of Jamaican music from, let's say, lovers, rock, and reggae, and ska, to rocksteady, right, into dancehall. And in a way to speaking about the absence or the lack of presence of the conscious music, because that's what as we are talking about, which is what this program is about, Rasta and Reggae.
Yeah.
A part of her presentation spoke to the absence of that spiritual presence or that reggae presence or the reggae messaging in a period of time within the music. And it was interesting that she did that because she mentioned the whole rise of Garnet Silk. Again, as I mentioned too, Garnet Silk and the whole ones them just at the time, Everton Blender, Tony Rebel, King Serious, Youth and Green, all these brethren were very important in the early 90s. That make I could have come to see the light in the first place.
Absolutely.
And as I said too, as we put in this presentation, Garnet Silk was really more, he was Rastafari, but he was coming more from that 12 tribe or that more of that Christian energy still, because a man talk about Christ and King, the character. Very biblical.
Yeah.
So for me, as a youth were coming up, having exposure to Christianity, it was an easy bridge to make because of how Garnet they deal with it. But what she, to me, had I don't know why, but to me, she had left out, and it was a big omission. Was to say that from Ghana at them time now, the next big era them now was like Chronics them.
Well, they were. I think they were referring to Chronics and what's his name? Protege.
Because he was the youth that was speaking this and while we just start hear about little Chronics and them things there.
They were referring to them as the new revival. The new
beautiful,
revival,
bro.
The new revival of reggae music, and they were like, they were more than happy because they said this is what these youths, who are singing now. Apparently, they were listening to the artists that you mentioned back then, and they're bringing back their type of music, but in a different form. So they were calling the new revival reggae music. Because also at the conference, I think the same day, because I left that afternoon because the Prime Minister came when I was leaving, I think, and also Books was there to make up presentations. So
you're very right. You're very right.
But it was something that I miss out on. I miss out on the last part of it because guess what?
Oh gosh,
there were some other Rasta brethren that came who were prominent, advocate for the legalization of marijuana. And in that group, one of them happened to be my cousin who I haven't seen for years.
Yes, yeah.
Honestly, I haven't seen him for years. And it was when a couple of days after we were talking on the phone, and I was telling him I was at UWI the other day, and him say, "You're kidding me, man. I was there." I said, "Well, I never see you." Him said, "What time were you there?" I said, "I left like about 10 minutes to 3. Him said, "So you should see me then because I came that time because our presentation was supposed to start at 3 o'clock." Like we just walk past each other on opposite side. Because remember when we came out, you and I went on the tree and we sit down and we had a chat session.
That's right.
Yes. And then after that, I left. So, I left like, we talk like for maybe about 45 minutes to an hour, put it that.
It's true, man. Right on the beehive.
Yes.
Yeah, bro. I go to expect I always recall that reason to, bro. I tell you the truth. Yeah, man.
It's because, this presentation, honestly, it really struck me that day, and I said, man, I wish this could be on a video that could be out that people can really see. I don't know if they have ever put the total package together and put it up on,
No,
YouTube or whatever, but that would have been something for youngsters to see.
Yeah. You're the eye is so right, because the conference had originally said that what they would have done, for example, with the papers is publish them. So that at the time would have been my first publication. So I was very excited about that. But it ended up as not happening. You know what I mean? So all those works, if a one wasn't there, then you know what I mean, you can't give a testimony, and you wouldn't really know, unless we, the ones who was there, give a testimony of the experience, which was a great one.
True.
Because I made many good ones in that, because even some work subsequent kind of forward from even that, because a person called Dr. Darren Middleton from the University of Texas, he came into view of my music, and we was talking about that, but we could have relayed forward to that conference, because he himself had heard about it and things, and about the good reviews of that conference. So again, it was a source of discussion when we started to speak about the music and my involvement with the music and Rastafari and all these things. So that conference was a very significant conference too.
Yeah, man. And you have never done this after? Yes, indeed. You can hear. That was Asante Amen. Asante Amen. My apology. And yesterday, as I said, it's going to be a 2-part series. So next week, he will be dealing with his music. The rest of the conversation, as I said earlier, we're going to make sure it's available in its right content. Music will be added to it. This song you hear playing in the background, and a couple more songs that he wants to go into places of the session. So it's going to be edited and placed up. So Flavius,
Yes, sir.
you with me?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yes, it was 60 minutes, and I mean 60 minutes of some good conversation.
Yeah, man.
I was surprised, when he said that he has no idea if that conference itself, that whole package where they talk about the music, the transition of the music, because there was different speakers there as well, if it's available. Yeah. But I know there was a cameraman there videoing, but if he was videoing for it to go overseas, because I know there was another presenter who I think she came from the United States. She too was there.
Okay.
Yeah, she made a presentation on the old music, as what she called it, which was ska, rock steady. So with that, we come to an end, and I want you to give me your 2 cents before we get out of here.
Well, I am seeing some nice sunshine. It's not, as bright as always, but it's very nice looking out there, drying up the water. We have had a lot in recent times. A lot. One time we don't have any, and another time we have quite a lot. Also, I must also report that the temperature is dropping also.
Ooh, cool.
So we are knowing
cool weather coming.
It's close. Yeah, December is close. So, and when the time is cooler, everybody enjoys it, Hopefully your light bill will go down, as you have to use less cooling systems, less AC, less fans, whatever. So that's good news.
Funny how you mentioned the time getting cooler. Yesterday, you know what I heard on the radio, on the TV actually, the guy said 50 more days for Christmas. I was like, what? It bring me back to when we were kids. We used to hear it on the radio say, 50
Oh
more
yeah.
days left for Christmas shopping, 50 more days left to fill your stocking. You only
Yeah,
got
yeah.
50 more days. And every day they would
Oh
get a
yeah.
countdown right up until, Christmas Day. You
But
don't hear that no
yeah.
more. You
Oh
don't
yeah.
hear that no more. So when him say it, I was
You have
like cracking up.
other things. You have other things now.
Mm-hmm.
I know in America now, nobody gonna talk about Christmas until Thanksgiving is done, and then people start talking about Christmas.
Talking and
You,
setting up. You will see the action too, as well.
yeah, you
People
guys have a lot of holidays, man. Lot of days to
start to
look
decorate as well.
forward to.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Christmas is in the stores already, from September.
Oh
So,
yeah, I know. I
because
know.
even during the pandemic, when stores were closed and then they open up for like we call it curbside pickup, the big stores
Mm-hmm.
down like the Macy's and the JC Penney, all of them big name stores, they were setting up their Christmas sales
Oh
stuff.
yeah. Display.
And now
Yeah.
there's the Black Friday already start. Black Friday sales online is going on now, so it's a whole different ball game. Hey, wait
But
them say.
but what the persons that really benefit from this time of year, is the bird farmers,
Okay.
the turkey farmers, because
That's what you
you need
mean.
turkey for you need Thanksgiving and you need turkey for Christmas.
Okay, okay.
Turkey. Oh yeah, because everybody, even if you don't like turkey, you still have to have a turkey in your house on your table.
Mm-hmm.
Just at the table, and you carve. You carve. The kids come in and they can carve off here and there, and then a turkey. I'm told lasts for a long time because after Christmas or after Thanksgiving is the soup time.
Let me tell you this: not many people eating turkey again. Everybody a mix it up. 'Cause the turkeys, it take long
Oh
for
yeah.
finish. You hear me? It take long for finish.
Yeah, but I'm saying it can't finish.
Okay.
That can't finish.
People are more going into the chicken where them can mash that down within a day, 2 days the
Yeah,
tops.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
without a meat kind. Yeah, you might have turkey slice, but them don't want a whole of turkey no more. Some people do love it, but
Tradition. People love tradition, Because I remember I was in Canada one year, me and this lady, and for our relatives, then they have this. I think it's happening all over Canada. This cake thing. You have to move from house to house, family to family, and eat a cake.
well, let's go.
Yeah,
So you finish up?
yeah, man, yeah, man, yeah,
Okay,
man, yeah, man.
okay.
I mean,
Well,
everybody must know the scratch record now. I forget a new one.
all right. Well, we want to thank.
The R&D, please, R&D, as the holiday comes on us in November and in December, please respect and discipline. That will get us through.
Yes, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and for being here with us. Thank you in the chat room as well. And we ask you to like, share, and subscribe. And remember to click the bell, the notification bell. Whenever we're on live, you will be the first or among the first to know that we're online live. So before we get out of here, we're going to ask Lubafu SNE to give us the Garafuna, our Father.
You lead us to full. You belong far away away. Ajuguala lebo buseru. Lida mua, lida sungfula. Lida mua, lida sungfula.
I have to learn them words there. Tafina to take us out, yeah.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
All you gotta do is just speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer so rough. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me know what set me if it go flee. Me I fi take away me say. Me I fi take away me say. Me I fi hide like a thief in the night. Me I fi get out of sight. Me I fi take away myself. I fi take away myself. I have to utilize I wings. Shorty I cleave your eyes.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
I find you very hard to resist. But this relationship I'm gonna desist. But how can I face you when all I wanna do is just taste you? I know you think I play me, I play, but soon you're gonna see the light of
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
I'll be gone in a pinch. May I feel take away myself. May I feel take away myself. May I feel hide like a thief in the night. May I feel get out of sight. May I feel take away myself. Take away myself. I have to do
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.